Ladies and gentlemen, today is August 24th, and welcome to our first analysis for the Dow Jones using our new software that we have been developing and continue to develop. It is ready to go to a certain extent in order to give you a better analytical analysis of what's going on in the stock market. And I think this sort of analysis is going to be ongoing. I'll try to do videos on a daily basis, not only looking at the Dow Jones, but looking at other financial instruments. And I think you're going to find it very interesting going forward. One of the issues that I had is analyzing a financial instrument in its entirety at one time, which is possible, but quite frankly, if we use all of the tools that you see here on the left, it would take quite a bit of time of analysis in order to bring it together. So what I kind of decided to do, at least for the time being, is analyze individual aspects of this software first, get you familiar with them, and then as time goes on, perhaps we can start looking at things in a more much quicker fashion, so to speak, where you're familiar with the tools that I'm using. But at least for the time being, I'm going to use them on an individual basis and do it on a day-by-day kind of analysis, where today we're only going to concentrate on time cycles associated with today's stock market, and tomorrow we're gonna jump to the next level, and then we'll bring them all together in order to have a completely clear picture of what's going on in the stock market. Anyway, we'll learn together as we kind of go along in terms of what kind of a format to use and what's going to work better and what's not going to work so much. So obviously we're looking at the long-term chart for the Dow Jones going all the way back to 1982, I believe. We'll zoom into that for a second. So what I wanted to look at today is the time cycles associated with the current stock market structure on the Dow Jones, and what we've trained our software to do is basically we have a number of the cycles that we've developed on our own over many years, and basically what it does is that the software looks at all the tops and bottoms, long-term, mid-term, whatever we tell it, and it identifies certain cycles that we have developed, a proprietary cycle, so to speak, and it identifies where those cycles have worked very well in the past, and it then projects them into the future, assuming that because they worked so well in the past, they will work very well in the future. And this is very important. And these are individual cycles right here on the left, but the bottom I'm going to push right now are clusters. So let's go ahead and push them, and all you see on the software is just this one big red line. But if we zoom in, what actually happens is, let me zoom in right here, these lines become separated, and these red lines begin to represent individual time turning points in the stock market, or in the structure of the Dow Jones in this particular case. So clusters, what does that mean? Well, there are many different cycles working in the stock market at any given time, and they rotate, they change, the structure of the stock market changes, we have to adjust those cycles. It gets fairly complicated based on our experience. What we've learned is that when multiple cycles, before we get there, let me show you just one cycle so you have a visual representation of what I'm talking about. So this is a visual representation of just one cycle that works very well in the stock market. So as you can see, it hit 98 bottom, and it hit the secondary bottom here in 2003, hit the top 2007, hit the bottom here in 2012, election bottom very close, and then it's projecting a top as we speak. So this is just one example of one cycles that work in the stock market all the time. So our software is able to pick out these cycles, project them into the future, and when you have multiple cycles coming together, one second, let me go ahead and open this up one more time. So when we have multiple cycles coming together, they generate clustering, And the more powerful the cluster is, the more cycles arrive within a certain time frame, the more powerful time turning point it becomes. So for example, you can see there are 3 different clusters arriving within this range, and we have a bottom. There are 2 clusters arriving within this range, and we have a top. There are 2 clusters arriving here, we have double top formation. We have 3 clusters here, a bottom, another 2 clusters, secondary bottom. We have clusters arriving, 4 clusters arriving here, we get a bottom in the stock market, so on and so forth. So basically what we're looking for, we're looking for multiple clusters. And as it pertains to the stock market today, we have 3 upcoming clusters. One is arriving right now, let's say August 25th, plus or minus 2 trading days. It's right here. We have 3 clusters arriving right here. It is somewhat powerful, but not extremely powerful. But we should anticipate some sort of a turning point here. We have another cluster arriving here, which is August 31st to September 2nd. So let's say September 1st plus or minus 1 trading day. This one is a pretty good one as well. And we have a third cluster arriving right here. You see these 3 lines, so 3 clusters arriving together. And let's say this is September 8th plus or minus 1 trading days. Now, there are 2 ways to think about this. All of these clusters can come together and generate a significant time turning point, which would entail some sort of a top at this point in time and beginning a decline. Or we can ascertain, or we can think about it, that it's gonna generate 3 different time turning points, and or 3 different turning points in the market, which in today's environment would be a top right now, a decline into September 1st, another push higher into September 8th, and then subsequent decline. So those are the 2 scenarios in terms of timing that we're looking at. So I think this is good enough for today. Basically what I wanted to kind of introduce to you and show you is this clustering concept. So once again, every single line that you see here on the chart represents a cluster. So for example, if you look at the left hand corner here, right here, I'm gonna click on one of the lines. So this one is September 2nd, and it is represented by 7 long-term cycles, 16 mid-term cycles, and 23 short-term cycles. It's just 1 clusters, and the more cycles arrive at the same time, the more powerful the time turning point is gonna be. And so in this particular case, as I just described, 2 possible scenario, that's what we're looking for. Now tomorrow I'm gonna make another video. Let's go back to this. I'm gonna make another video where I'm gonna introduce the cycle composites that we have, and it's much better visual representation of the same thing, but essentially will show you something very similar. And when we combine this sort of a concept with the concept I just talked about, and I'll dive into that in a little bit more detail tomorrow, then we have a much better picture of what's going on, or when we should anticipate a top or a bottom. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll be back with another video outlining the time cycles in the stock market tomorrow. Bye-bye.